Hey, this is Scott Kelford here at Market Pro. I have 25 years of fixed ops experience, which I'm blessed to say that I have a lot of people's fingerprints on me from over the years. 30 years of total dealership exposure, automotive exposure. That includes the almost 10 years that we have at Market Pro together. Was a customer of theirs for 10, and now I am an employee for almost 10. So a lot of things allow me to speak to the dealer intelligently because of the background that I have. So I'm pretty fortunate.
I'm Heather Gregg with TVI MarketPro. I started in marketing for automotive in 2000. Have worked with several different marketing companies and just love my dealerships and love helping them learn the marketing trends and what's changing and helping them get to their customers.
Probably nothing's changed in the last couple of years. I think it's finding quality people. Work habits, discipline of employees has changed a lot since the pandemic. You can't keep people. The ones that you do hire, there's no longevity or loyalty to their employment with you. So speaking to the leaders in the dealerships that we visit every month, it's a common challenge is getting the right people, having the money and time invested in those individuals for them not to last. And it's really hard to build a bench and build a team if you can't keep people and grow them the way that you want your culture to be. So you kind of keep going through folks, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen.
Most of my dealerships have said what they're starting to see a trend of, and again, like Scott said, it's in the last couple of years, it's kind of been the same thing, is low CSI scores. CSI has always been a big deal, but expectations of customers have shifted in the last couple of years, and so meeting the same level of service is just not the same to a customer. Their expectations have changed, and so making sure that the dealership is going over and above for those customers to make sure that those CSI scores stay up.
I think the challenge and projections for 25 is going to be, now that the inventory levels in the new and pre-owned sections are back to their kind of normalcy, now the focus is back on fixed, right? So the RO count's really going to have to go up. Your parts and labor sales per ticket is starting to get back to normal because people aren't dropping or investing money in their vehicle like they were pandemic time because they didn't want to pay, write a check for a car or finance a car. So you're going to need a lot more at bats, which is a repair order, and get more people nose to nose and toes to toes with your consultants on the drive is what I think is going to be the biggest challenge.
I would have to agree that car sales are starting to normalize, from post COVID. And with that, the CP, mostly the customer pay ROs, have been what have kind of suffered. Those are all starting to normalize in where the car sales are starting to kind of even out. As Scott said, the fixed department is where the money's been coming from. And so all of that kind of normalizing out is what I think we'll see a lot of in 2025.
I tell you, for me, it was my first time, I just said how long I've been in this industry, and it was my first time at NADA as a person in general, but we got to work the program, right? We got to have a booth. So it was a lot to absorb and digest, but I think the way that we rallied together at our booth and the amount of touches that we had by the guests that we got to come into the booth was a big deal. But I'll tell you, I think reflecting back on that, if we could have as much success next year in New Orleans is probably utilizing the ability to do the podcast. It was fun, learned a lot, and I can't wait to put that in application for 2025.
Probably what I enjoyed most about NADA 2024 was just being in front of the dealers and just seeing them. I have a couple dealers that I don't see in person, and so just watching, even dealerships that, again, in 24 years that I've been in this industry, there's been dealerships that I've worked with off and on in different companies. And to just see the name walk by on a name badge, even if it wasn't the person that I dealt with, but just to see those dealership names and all of that kind of come together in that just one huge area with all the automotive people is just, I loved that. And then getting to meet some of the other vendors. I was able to meet with several vendors who work with our same dealerships that have come up in my monthly maintenance meetings. And, we use, this company or this company for different things. And to be able to touch base and connect with those people and have those same dealerships in common and be able to, get that network so that together we can help, I think, the dealerships even more working together from the vendor side.
I think conversions would be the first word that come to mind is getting more folks to get bought in quickly for the short period of time that we have them in front of us live. Getting more reservations with them down the road in their individual markets as everybody leaves Louisiana. So the thing, learning what Heather and I've done in the past, and to be able to know how important those leads are right in front of you. If they take enough time to stop and let you show or pitch them what we do and how we can help them, you have their undivided attention, at least for that small interim of time. So I would think what we want more of this year or 2025 is closing more deals and getting folks to buy in quicker.
I think it's very similar to what I enjoyed most about 2024 is just the one-on-one time with clients, the existing ones as well as, prospective ones, even the dealerships who come by and maybe aren't interested in what we do. Getting the name recognition for TVI MarketPro out there, because what a dealership's doing right now might not work in the future. So if they're not in the market right now, they might be later. And so just expanding our reach with not just the existing clients and some of the existing clients who don't know what we do, because in a monthly meeting, things happen, people come in their office, you kind of have a little bit more undivided attention at the booth, but then expanding just the TVI reach in general.
I just think our platform's gotten bigger this year. For next year, we're going to have a lot more to talk about. Dipping our foot in the pool with AI and with the texting and stuff. But we've really come full circle digitally. So the Facebook and paid search stuff, I think we have a lot of good talking points there on how we can grow your RO counts by triangulating, mail, email, and digital. I think is a big deal. Then we got some good stuff coming up that we're going to be able to talk about maybe by the end of Q1 or 2.
I agree 100% with that. One of the things that I think people, again, when you're in your monthly meetings with existing clients especially, you kind of can get tunnel visioned, hey, we use you for our mail and email. TVI is constantly changing and constantly expanding the services that we offer. And Will is constantly looking to see what's next and where this, industry is going. He wants to be ahead of that. And so there are so many companies out there that a fixed department needs to be working with. And I think every year TVI gets closer and closer to being an option for them to have just one in TVI MarketPro.
So when you have a downturn, a lot of times, and I've said the word a couple of times, is culture is a big deal, because if you are training your folks to give the customer a wow experience, you get subsequent visits even during downturn times, slow times. You get people that continue to stay active, and they're it's not putting people through your process, it's processing people. And if you get those backwards, you hurt yourselves. The other big thing that we offer as a company is when it gets slow, you can't just sit on your hands and wait for folks to drive in the door. We provide a multitude of lists, things that you can get a business development center to do. Even consultants, if it's that slow, they have time to make outbound calls. Go after declination work, previous mail or email that got sent out that you don't have an RO or a conversion on. And I think that's one of the things that we've taken off the ball in our industry is maximizing the tools that folks like us provide a dealer.
I think on kind of a short term, when you are in a dealership and, hey, we're really slow, the month is starting out slow, one of the quick and easy things that TVI can do is an email blast. That is something we get turned around in like 24 to 48 hours. So it can be very immediate to what the dealership needs. A lot of times I will ask the dealership, what's your slowest day of the week? What's your slowest time of day? We can send out an email blast that's specific to that kind of a happy hour thing where it's, on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 1 and 4, here's the discount, to try and increase, like very specifically and very targeted where the dealership is lacking right there. And then very much so use the BDC. We have so many lists. We have so many ways that we can segment and pull their customers so that they can be proactive and really go after those customers during the slower times. And so I spoke with several of my dealerships and asked them what they do for this workflow. And most of them are still very old school, and they do just a personal dispatch. And I asked why. I said, are there just not companies out there that are doing that? And what most of them came back to me with was I know my technicians. I know the ones who work better under these circumstances. So it just works out better for them to just still do the old school manual dispatch.
I'm going to echo Heather on this one because dispatching is a huge opportunity in the dealership. In the service department, we sell time. That's what we do. We sell hours. To keep up with the available hours to sell, you've got to understand and have a good network of a good service scheduler. Having a dispatcher in place that is someone that can mentor the techs. You understand you've got technicians that are quicker, better at some things. Some are slower. Some are not qualified to work on some things. And it allows you to maximize your time and efficiency. Productivity, efficiency is huge. Some things and tools you can put in place that will assist in that endeavor is, if you have the ability to have the expense, have a parts delivery person that takes the parts from the parts department and delivers them in the bays. Techs can't turn hours if they're not in their bay. If they're out, gallivanting throughout the shop looking for stuff, they're just not productive. So we got to maximize that. The internal dispatch is huge. They manage the hours. It increases your tech efficiency. But I'm going to tell you, a digital MPI is one of the biggest tools that you can do. If you're still handwriting multi-point inspection forms and attaching them to the RO, the time you walk back and forth to get the information to a customer to allow them to make a well-informed decision is pretty rough when you got marked up stuff. But digitally, if you have a process in place where you can figure out who's got the baton in the process of RO creation, dispatched, in the bay working, is it on parts hold, authorization hold, where is the customer during that process? Where's the car? Digital stuff can show you how long it's been on parts hold, how long it's been on authorization hold. There's your bottlenecks usually right there. So I just little things like that turn out to be big things. But I agree with Heather. I think a manual dispatcher on top of an electronic or a DMS provide a dispatch tool where you can have people walk the shop and see, open bays where you can pull in a flat and scan something without having to put the car up in the air. It's just a lot of little things like that.